Hello and welcome to another episode of FinTech Focus TV with me, Toby, Babb. We are here at London's Excel Centre at Pay360 and I'm joined by Chris and Tam from the Bank of London. Chris, good to meet you.
Good morning.
Tam, lovely
nice
to see you.
Morning, Toby.
So listen, thanks so much for coming in. Good day ahead of you. We're at the very start of day 2 of Pay360 today. Lots of change over at the Bank of London. Chris, you've been here for 3 months, Tam a little bit longer. But there's a lot of exciting things happening which we're going to be covering today. So before we get into that, Chris, Tam, will you just give us a brief introduction of yourselves and the bank?
Yeah, so good morning. I'm Chris Horne. I'm the CEO of Bank of London, and I've been at the firm for just over 8 weeks, so slightly less than 3 months.
Tam Holmes, Chief Commercial Officer. So at the Bank of London, we offer B2B payments for FinTechs, for small banks, for payment firms, and I've been in digital banking since the last century.
So a lot, as we say, going on, a lot of change at the bank. A rebrand. Tell us a little bit about the thought process behind that, what's happening, what's driven the new look.
Yeah, look, I think obviously there's been a lot of press coverage about Bank of London over the last year. And actually, I'd like to start by thanking my team for being so focused on the job in hand, because it's been a pretty difficult time. But look, so the rebrand is part of that process of resetting. So I think we had some probably overly ambitious targets in the past. We've reset that, we brought it back to the core, and I think what we now need to do is focus on delivering on the strategy that we set for ourselves. As part of that journey, we brought in new investors, so £60 million have been invested since the summer of last year. New board, new CEO, I've hired a new CFO, new CRO. So look, we're taking that resetting process extremely seriously. I think it's important. We've built strong capabilities, but now we need to drive that through in terms of working as partners with our clients, building new capabilities, and driving the proposition forward into the future.
And Tam, as the constant behind that change, you're seeing a lot of that. It must be exciting to see the next sort of phase of it.
I think, just come back to the brand, I think, what we've built is a clean, simple, modern bank. And I think the brand didn't reflect that just in terms of the typography and the iconography. So I think just bringing that just in line with the technology and the underlying product is what we've done. So we're super excited about where we are now and really excited about the year ahead.
So, and I think the sort of brand is part of that, the new brand is part of that reset. And I think it's much more modern, it's much more differentiated, and it looks much more appropriate for the sort of organisation that we are, as opposed to some giant bank, which is what I felt it looked like before.
Yeah. And as you say, look, this is about attracting yourself to a different audience, to the in many ways, the audience which we see around here today. Tell us a little bit about the thought process behind that.
So we want to serve payment firms, basically, large or small, from banks down to smallest EMIs or FinTechs. So we've got a really strong product, direct access to the payment rails, and this is just the best place to be in the UK in terms of access to those clients, access to the payment schemes, access to the thought leadership in this space. So it's a really excellent event to meet everybody and meet future clients and current clients.
And we've seen a lot of key themes coming through from Pay360 today. That the themes that are omnipresent at the moment throughout this whole space. There is an awful lot of change happening at pace, driven a lot by technology, but also by regulation and everything within that. So it creates this sort of very new playing field, this very new opportunity. I think probably the biggest word that's buzzed all the way through here is AI, as we've been hearing probably about every single event, wherever you're at the moment. But tell us how you guys are adapting to that and the opportunities that sort of sit within that.
Yeah, I think for us, AI is more about the back office than the front office. Yesterday, I saw a keynote and Brian was talking about 100 billion investment this year from the hyperscalers in AI. So it's just massive. And it's about how firms like ours leverage that technology. But for us, it's really approaching the traditional problems in the back office, all around KYC, compliance, risk management. So how can we use AI to enhance those capabilities and then let our people really add the value where people are needed. So it's about that hybrid of AI taking some of the strain and then allowing our really experienced compliance people to get inside the payments and the KYC.
Yeah, and I think, sorry Toby, I think Tam's absolutely right. So I think particularly as we sort of reset, as we now scale going forwards, that increasing the operational efficiency of everything that we do is incredibly important, and clearly AI can help that massively.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I was going to go with that. You mentioned the people who you were bringing in, the sort of talent around the bank. And I always think that this AI rhetoric over the last few years has been about replacement and efficiency is a word there that's used. But I think it's also about productivity and the significance of increasing the productivity of everyone. I'm encouraged by what you were saying there about making sure that it turbocharges the people you've got in there as opposed to necessarily just replaces and reduces.
No, that's absolutely right. And obviously, as I think everyone will know, when you start, everything's quite manual. So it needs to become much more efficient as you grow and serve more and more clients.
So we're talking as well about a period of change, new people coming in, 8 weeks worth of change so far is no time in the grand scheme of things. But obviously it needs some relatively quick decisions and changes and a platform for the next phase of growth. Tell us what this looks like. What's exciting that's coming up over the course of the next 12, 18 months for yourselves in the business?
Well, from my point of view, I guess what's exciting is having, look, we went through a restructuring, we've reset, we're now focused on growth and clients and expanding our capabilities. And so that to me is exciting. So we put the history behind us, we rebrand, and that's a sort of catalyst for the next step.
Yeah.
In terms of capabilities, maybe Tam.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
So currently got a really strong core of UK domestic payments, and by Q4 this year we'll deliver FX and international payments for our clients. So it'll be a one-stop shop to deliver GBP, Euro and Dollar. So really excited about delivering that capability for our clients. And then next year, taking it to the next level, bringing in some AI enhancements as well. So there's a really full roadmap ahead, and the clients are really excited about it.
And in terms of what you're hearing today and some of the sort of meta trends and themes, what's interesting for you here at Pay360?
Well, as you know, Toby, it's my first day here, so you have to ask me at the end of the day rather than
you're looking to get so far out of it. If you're sat there and looking at the agenda, some of the things that you're looking to
Look, from my point of view, being new to payments, I'm looking to understand what our competitors are up to.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see where people are focused, where things that we could learn from that.
Yeah.
And generally just meet more people in the space. I was in a different part of banking before.
Yeah.
And that's also why it's exciting for me, doing something completely different and learning.
Yeah, Tam?
So I blogged on LinkedIn yesterday. I said London's coming back into fashion. So I think, post-Brexit, I think Trump's made a whole new world, right? So I think London as one of the financial centres of the world actually is back in fashion, actually. So I think that's a big thing for me. The show's a lot bigger this year, seeing more buzz.
Yeah.
And then just and I think the other aspect is around cryptocurrencies, right? So next year, where does stablecoin begin to play, where fiat currently plays? So I think there's a lot of change coming, and we're really well positioned to serve clients in that space. I predict next year on the agenda there'll be a lot of talking about stablecoin and cryptocurrencies in general.
Yeah, and when people came back to the office yesterday, right, they'd obviously met a lot of potential clients, met a lot of other competitors, or even tech firms. They were excited, right? It sort of gets you interested, gets you focused on what the opportunities are, and that's interesting for everyone, right?
I think it's exactly that. There is a definite buzz around everything here, and I think with the evolution of technology at the moment, at the pace it's going, that just creates a wealth of opportunity within it. I also think this sort of macroeconomic situation is a really interesting position to for us to be in, and as a sort of very strong London advocate at the same sort of stage, it's a really dynamic time for us to be able to sort of set ourselves and move further forward. And I think the investment, the excitement, the innovation that's coming out of the capital at the moment is probably at fever pitch, right?
Yeah, particularly as the regulators looking at how to stimulate growth, peeling back all sorts of different types of regulations, and that can only be positive for the growth of financial services in general.
Well, I think it's so important, isn't it? That becomes a really critical part about how, at a time of this sort of period of change, how we can actually put ourselves in a position, backed by the government, to really take leaps further forward. Because if we get that right, that's an enormous possibility. So what would you be looking to see? What sort of stimulus, what sort of help could really transform the fortunes of London at the moment, do you think?
I think from my side, a lot around regulation. So we need the right type of regulation and not too much the wrong type of regulation. Yeah. So interestingly, in the crypto space, the UK is actually behind, basically. So we do need some...
Well, we had that rhetoric before, didn't we, there about, Rishi, I remember Rishi Sunak talking at FinTech Week a year and a half, 2 years ago, about how we're going to make London the crypto capital of the world, etc. Then Trump's come over and done that. We've moved backwards.
The EU have already released
a set of
I I guess, is it proposed or actual regulation? Whereas the UK, we're still going to have to wait another year or so for that.
Yeah. So
Puts you behind, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Look, I think in general, I think UK finance as an example, there's 60 or so different financial services oriented regulations they're suggesting get built back. The government seems to be working through that list.
Yeah.
When you put that all together, that's just going to present a massive opportunity.
Yeah.
Not just for us, but obviously financial services in general.
And Tam, that's going to be good for you as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then talent's at the heart of this, right? So London's, probably the global centre of fintech talent, payments talent, financial services talent, right? So it's about leveraging that talent to really drive the economy forward.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting piece. I've been speaking, obviously getting the temperature check around here over the last couple of days, and there's a lot of desire and growth and people wanting to bring good people into it. And I think from my perspective, having the opportunity for companies to make that as easy as possible for doing that, we'd always had this sort of wonderful opportunity of great education centres, great access to talent, attracting the best talent to this country. I think that there has to be something there which continues to happen for us to forge ahead, because the sort of New York-London divide and this sort of it feels closer than it's ever been before in terms of where we can go and what that looks like. So exciting times. So tell us a little bit about what we can expect to see. We've obviously spoken about the brand. We know a lot of stuff that's happening at the moment within the business. To finish off, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that? How do they reach out?
Come round to stand 37. That's the best way.
Finding that today. But also reaching out and finding out a little bit more about the brand and such.
Come to our website. The contact details are there. We'd love to speak to you. And we're a friendly relationship bank as well, right? Fully digital, but we also, people are at the heart of this. So come and visit our office. Come and talk to us about what you're trying to achieve, and we'll help you get there.
Fantastic.
Oh,
Or email tam.holmes@bankoflondon.com.
We're released there. Lovely to meet you. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Tam, thank you very much. And thank you all for watching. We'll see you on the next episode of FinTech Focus TV. Thanks a lot.